Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, I have some bonus content for you guys. The bonus content we'll be covering today will be in the sport of wrestling inside the WWE world. In today's bonus segment, I'll be sharing my list of the top 5 tag teams in wrestling history. So I'll start off at number 1, then go down to number 5 on my list in that particular order. So starting off with number 1, I do believe that Matt and Jeff the Hardy Boys are the greatest tag team in wrestling history. Now, Jeff and Matt Hardy have solidified themselves as being the greatest tag team in wrestling history, hands down. I mean, the Hardy Boys had the aura, they had the charisma, they're charismatic daredevils. I mean, they're Team Extreme. They're really fast-paced wrestling style with great tag team moves over the years. Have defined themselves as the greatest tag team of all time. The Hardy Boys were basically the rock stars of the Attitude Era during the WWF days as well. Made tag team wrestling really fun to pay attention to and to watch on a weekly basis. And the Hardy Boys have been a part of several classics. Their TLC matches that they had with Edge and Christian and the Dudley Boys on several occasions. I can even throw another scenario in there when they've had classics in other wrestling promotions. I'd say the Young Bucks, for example, their Ring of Honor ladder match, just to name one outside the WWE. But the Hardy Boys have been going on strong for several decades. I mean, they've been tag team champions at several wrestling promotions in the WWE and TNA. Currently, the TNA World Tag Team Champions, Ring of Honor, and they also competed in the AEW. So the Hardy Boys have put tag team wrestling on the map in the late 90s and have never looked back. And Matt and Jeff have actually shined as single stars as well. Jeff Hardy being a 3-time world champion in the WWE. Matt Hardy having some success holding singles titles around the world as well. So Jeff and Matt Hardy have found several ways to be Team Extreme, or when you think of their work in TNA, Brother Nero and Broken Matt Hardy. I mean, they have done some incredible work together to make themselves relevant throughout the late 90s all the way to the calendar year 2025, which has been remarkable, phenomenal. And I just think based off the work that they've done, the Hardy Boys are the greatest tag team in wrestling history forever. So they're number 1 on my list. Number 2, I'll put Edge and Christian as the second best tag team in wrestling history. Now, Edge and Christian they still are longtime childhood friends that have made a career out of pro wrestling. Edge and Christian both have been remarkable wrestlers, whether they've been in a tag team or singles competitors in their wrestling careers. But just like Edge and Christian, just like Matt and Jeff and the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian define what Daredevil tag team is all about, what Extreme tag team is all about. And they've shared some marquee moments with the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys. And their Edge and Christian's in-ring style was really to bring in a hardcore audience to invest into tag team wrestling as well. Edge and Christian won a total of 7 World Tag Team titles together in the WWE. They've been a part of some of the greatest tag team moments in wrestling history. And even though I don't follow the company anymore in AEW, it would be nice to see, for someone that's been a wrestling fan as long as me, for Edge and Christian to team up one more time and possibly win tag team gold over there in AEW, because the moment is there. And if the timing is right, I think Edge and Christian should go on one more tag team run, since they are under the same banner and under the same wrestling company, with both wrestlers not really having much time left in their respective careers. But I would say Edge and Christian are the second best tag team in wrestling history. Number 3, I'll put the Dudley Boys. The Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley. I mean, they were, of course, one of the most extreme tag teams in wrestling history. Before they broke onto the scene in the WWE/WWF days in the Attitude Era, they were doing some hardcore extreme stuff over on ECW with Paul Heyman and the other ECW legends that represented that wrestling company at the time. But the fans invested a lot of time and effort into caring about Devon Dudley and Bubba Ray for the Dudley Boys. I mean, the Dudley Boys had great interactions with the fans, the crowd. They had some extreme moments. And when the Dudley Boys would say, "Get the tables," that would erupt the entire arena and get fans watching around the world excited for the table spots that the Dudley Boys are going to prepare. The 1D is one of the best tag team finishers in wrestling history. Or the 3D, excuse me, the 3D is one of the best tag team wrestling finishers in wrestling history. But the Dudley Boys have won a total combined of 18 tag team titles throughout several wrestling promotions, that being the WWE, WCW, ECW, and TNA. 18 World Tag Team titles in 4 different promotions is incredible and remarkable for the work that they've done in tag team wrestling. I gotta say the Dudley Boys are the 3rd best tag team in wrestling history. At number 4, I'll put Jimmy and Jay the Usos. Now, I think Jimmy Uso and Jay Uso are the 4th best tag team in wrestling history, behind the Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, Jeff and Matt, the Hardy Boys. And I think that's an appropriate spot to put the Usos at this particular point, based off of what they've done since they burst onto the scene of WWE since 2010. But the Usos have been the best tag team of this modern era right now in wrestling. And the Usos have found several ways to basically grow in wrestling and continue to be a fresh tag team. Look at the Usos, how they started off with the face paint covered over them. Then the Usos going to a heel persona, being the Uso, putting tag teams in the penitentiary. Then the bloodline version of the Usos serving for the tribal chief Roman Reigns. I mean, they are great as baby faces or heels. The Usos have done some incredible work in the tag team division, and they're great competitors as well in the ring. 8-time tag team champions, the longest reigning tag team reign in WWE history, with 622 days as World Tag Team Champions. And they've had some classic matches with Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, The New Day, Roman Reigns, and Solo Sikoa. I mean, the Usos have had a lot of tremendous marquee moments. And you could also add in a classic with the Street Profits as well over the years. But the Usos have defined tag team wrestling. And I gotta say, the twin brothers, Jimmy and Jay, they've done their damn thing as being one of the greatest tag teams of all time. So I have them number 4 on my list. And last but not least, this one's kind of controversial. I mean, there's so many other tag teams I could put in this slot, but I'm going to put the New Day at number 5. And I think it's appropriate for the New Day to make this top 5 list of mine based off of the work that they've done to make this group, this faction, this tag team special in the WWE. Because what makes this tag team special of Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Big E Langston, or Big E now, they put so much time and effort into this faction to make this work, because Xavier Woods and Big E were going to be fired. Were this close to being fired in 2014. Kofi Kingston was losing his desire and fire to be a sports entertainer at the time. So what these 3 men did was put together a new faction, the New Day. And the New Day have been entertaining as baby faces, entertaining as heels. And they used the free bird rule to their advantage over the years. They have several tag team reigns that helped them become one of the best tag teams in WWE history. If you're not familiar with the free bird rule is, it's the 3 wrestlers that are eligible in the faction to defend the titles whenever. So you could have Kofi and Big E defend the titles, Xavier Woods and Big E defend the titles. You guys get what I'm saying? It was eligible, as long as they were a group and a faction, all 3 wrestlers were eligible to defend the tag team titles. So that's what made this group special and their tag team reign special. And that's what helped the New Day win a total of 12 tag team titles in the WWE. And they have some of the most decorated championship runs in the company's history. And they've had several classics as well. Classics with The Bar, that tag team of Sheamus and Cesaro, the Usos, the Revival, and several other classics a part of this tag team reign. And who could ever forget the run that the Usos had from SummerSlam of 2015 all the way to Roadblock, the end of 2016, where the New Day held the tag team titles for a total of 483 days, having one of the greatest tag team reigns in wrestling history. So I gotta say, it's a tough list, but I gotta say those are my top 5 tag teams in wrestling history. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off. And I'll see you guys on next week's episode.